If you think you know how terrorism is controlled, think again. The world of counter-terrorism is far more complex and shadowy than most people realize. While the general public often sees the overt actions of military forces and publicized counter-terrorism operations, there is a hidden layer of strategy and maneuvering that goes unnoticed. This hidden layer is where the real game is played, and it involves a delicate balance of power, influence, and covert operations. We're diving into the secret operations of Muslim countries. Governments supporting terror groups? It may sound like a conspiracy theory, but the reality is far more nuanced. In the intricate web of global politics, some Muslim nations have been accused of using terror groups as tools to achieve their geopolitical objectives. This isn't just about supporting these groups, it's about manipulating them to serve national interests. It sounds like a plot twist, but it's real. Classified documents and intelligence reports have revealed that certain governments have engaged in covert operations that involve both supporting and combating terror groups. This dual strategy allows them to maintain a semblance of control over these groups, while also using them to destabilize rival nations or regions. Some Muslim nations reportedly use terror groups as pawns to influence global politics, backing certain factions while crushing others. This strategy is not new. It has been employed throughout history by various powers to maintain their dominance. By supporting certain factions, these countries can ensure that their interests are protected and that their influence extends beyond their borders. But how do they keep their own lands safe? The answer lies in a combination of advanced technology, intelligence gathering, and strategic alliances. These countries have developed sophisticated surveillance systems that allow them to monitor potential threats in real time. They also rely on a network of informants and undercover agents who provide crucial information about the activities of terror groups. Advanced cyber surveillance and elite spy networks track, infiltrate, and neutralize threats before they even surface. These operations are often conducted in complete secrecy, with only a handful of individuals aware of the full extent of the activities. The use of cutting-edge technology, such as facial recognition software and data analytics, allows these countries to stay one step ahead of potential threats. The biggest enemy of a terrorist isn't always the West. It's these powerful intelligence agencies. These agencies have the resources and expertise to dismantle terror networks from within, often using methods that are not available to Western counterparts. Their deep understanding of local cultures and languages gives them an edge in infiltrating and disrupting terror groups. Yet there's a dark side. The use of terror groups as proxies can lead to unintended consequences, including the spread of violence and instability. When these groups are no longer useful, they can become a liability, turning against their former sponsors. This creates a cycle of violence that is difficult to break. Some of these countries allegedly use terror groups to wage proxy wars, spreading chaos elsewhere to maintain their own stability. By keeping their adversaries embroiled in conflict, they can divert attention away from their own internal issues. This strategy, however, comes at a high cost, as it often leads to widespread suffering and destruction. Who are the puppet masters in this dangerous game? Identifying the key players behind these operations is challenging, as they operate in the shadows, using intermediaries and front organizations to carry out their plans. These individuals are often high-ranking officials with deep connections to both the government and the military. And what does it mean for global security? The involvement of state actors in supporting terror groups complicates efforts to combat terrorism on a global scale. It creates a murky landscape where alliances are constantly shifting, and the lines between friend and foe are blurred. This makes it difficult for international coalitions to develop effective strategies to address the root causes of terrorism. In our final episode, we'll reveal the biggest, most shocking truth: why, despite all efforts, terrorism still persists worldwide. The persistence of terrorism is not just a failure of counter-terrorism strategies. It is also a reflection of the complex and often contradictory nature of global politics. As long as there are states willing to use terror groups as tools of influence, the cycle of violence will continue. If governments have such control, why can't they end it? The answer lies in the competing interests and priorities of different nations. While some countries may genuinely want to eradicate terrorism, others see it as a useful tool to achieve their geopolitical goals. This creates a situation where efforts to combat terrorism are undermined by the very actors who claim to be fighting it. The answer will leave you speechless. The truth is that the fight against terrorism is not just about eliminating threats. It is also about navigating a complex web of political, economic, and social factors. Understanding this reality is crucial for developing more effective strategies to address the root causes of terrorism and create a more stable and secure world. Subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss this. Stay tuned as we continue to uncover the hidden truths behind global terrorism and the efforts to combat it. Your understanding of this issue will never be the same again.